episode of Radio City Freedom Exchange with me, Mijal Lakshmi. And joining me this afternoon are two very wonderful singer-songwriters, musicians who I'm personally a fan of, and two wonderful people who have really entertained us listeners throughout 2020. Sameer Rahat and Malika Mehta, thank you so much for doing this episode with us. Firstly, congratulations are in order for both of you. Sameer, your album Ahmad has really featured in every music publications top 10, top 20, but it has really topped the charts in 2020. Malika, you've released two wonderful singles, one Hindi and English, and both have been received very, hugely by the audiences. I want to first start by asking both of you, how did you all first discover the knack, or when did you all realize that you had a, you have an inkling towards songwriting? When did you discover that poetic side of it?
To be really honest, I think I've always been that person who's been into, writing poems or journaling or just in general writing about my feelings and, about my day. I think when I was in school, I used to write a lot of books, lots of poems, lots of pieces. And I wrote my very first single I think when I was about 18 or 19. So it was just about the feelings. I just wrote it down. And then I had a couple of my friends and parents listen to it and they liked it. And obviously I tweaked it around and we released it, and I think after it actually came out, after the production, after it, it was playing everywhere. That's when I actually realized that okay, fine. I think I am a songwriter, and I think I'd love to put out a lot more out there.
I've been a musician for almost 16 years now. If I when I look back at it now, so for me it was always a very clear objective. It was not really a journey per se. Of course, a journey as a musician, it had been a long one, and I'm still on it, and it's going to take a while for me to reach where I like to see myself in terms of the musicians that I look up to, to reach that level. But for me, I've always been writing songs, and the background and the जैसे कहेंगे परवरिश has been very full of poems and literature, and my mom and dad, they both are poets, like proper poets, like they do it for life. So it was always around me. So yeah, and then when I started pursuing music professionally, which was also pretty early on, around when I was in college, I realized that this is what I want to do for life. um, but you know how it is in the society. You usually have to do another graduation like a BCom or something else, क्योंकि घर वाले बोलते हैं ना, कुछ तो degree करो. So that was going on, but yeah, I always knew. And so there was not really a point, coming back to your question, where I realized that this I always knew, and from the very beginning. And but yeah, definitely now and then there are realizations that okay, this is also what I can do, this is what all, something that I can explore.
Um, what are your references? Like, what are the reference points actually when you all sit down to write a song?
I think Sameer, go for this one first.
uh, See, I am a film music composer also, apart from doing a lot of, I think you know that, Lakshmi, I do a lot of every kind of music basically for my bread and butter and everything. Um, so what I really enjoy doing is making songs and writing songs for films, because there's a narrative, there's a story in place, the characters really inspire me. Even better if I can get the visuals before I get into the production. Um, for example, like in fact, I'm working on a film right now where we always had the song. They ended up shooting everything on the acoustic version of the song, and when I saw the visuals, I ended up producing the song inspired get by I got inspired by the visuals. So for me, when I'm acting as a music director, as a film composer, then it's the story. That's the reference point always. And director is the king. He's the boss. I really, really like to. The agenda is to enhance his story and add to what he's trying to say. When I'm a singer songwriter or an independent musician, that's where I really kind of uh, I feel like I'm doing my best because there's no restriction per se also. So I can write about anything. So to be honest, there are no reference point there at all. So I just usually, uh, it, a song would come to me depending on what I've been reading. For example, if I'm reading Javed Akhtar a lot, maybe I get inspired by a Nazm and I'll be like, okay, that really impacted me. Or if I'm reading Gulzar Saab or John Elia or anyone. And that's how usually it works for me. Mostly it's driven by literature and not music. And then music happens because it's just the way I would like to express. So usually it's not the music that is inspiring my writing, but literature that is inspiring what I would like to write, and then the music comes. So,
it kind of complements the kind of singing that I do. The way I want to, whether it's texture, whether it is how high I would like myself to reach, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think I try to tell a story. I also try to keep in mind that, like you mentioned, we tend to write about love or heartbreak because these are the kind of topics that majority of the mass is going to kind of relate to, connect with, and I think it's usually just something that I'm feeling or something again very similar, not literature for me, but if there's a movie that I have seen or if there's something that has happened, not necessarily in my life, but something that I might have just picked up, I would probably like work towards that concept, and then somewhere along the lines come, and the concept fits in. But yeah, I think at least my last song, my last song, Kahan Hai Tu, it started with the concept of rain. There's an element of rain in the song. I think it happened because I was writing around the season, the beginning of. So I think that it's about stuff around you as well.
So how does that process get empowered by the language you perform in? Because Sami, you write in Hindi as well as Urdu. Malika, you with Kahan Hai Tu, you discovered your songwriting prowess in Hindi as well. So how do you ensure that the communication is put across even while you are while you are in the process of it in a through a different language? How do you ensure that the emotion remains intact?
I think it's extremely important when you're writing the song. Being a singer and a songwriter, two different things altogether again. But when you're writing the song, I think number one, you have to be very, very, fluent with the language. It has to be there. You can't be writing in a language that you don't speak in. At least as per what I, consider to take it as. And for me, English and Hindi have been both languages that I've been speaking since I was really little. So I think yeah, there is that basic vocabulary and like you know what you're doing. But at least when I wrote Kahani to that, like you mentioned, it was the first time that I was writing in Hindi, and it, to be very very honest, it just came to me. There were a few things that I changed later on, but that song was something that I don't know how it happened. I wrote the whole thing in 20 minutes in the middle of the night. There was absolutely no concept in my mind. There was no lyric. There was nothing when I actually went to the keyboard. Um, yeah, I think at the back of your head, when you've been speaking the language, you kind of know that what you're trying to say is coming across the right way. And I also think that one of the biggest things that comes into play is the amount of music you listen to on a daily basis or that you've been listening to. So I think subconsciously, whatever you're listening to, whether it's words, whether it's phrases, they kind of do stick. And the songs that you do like, they kind of stick. So I think if you notice, a lot of singer-songwriters do use very specific songs that are overheard in a lot of songs. And I think that is because they also tell the story right, and it's also been used, and you kind of know that it's being what you're trying to say is being said the right way.
I took 10 years to write my album, so it's very different for me. I, you know, like Hindi and Urdu, for me, they both are same, but that's a different debate altogether. We can do another episode just about that because it's, um, I write in Hindi and Urdu because that's my first language. Like I mean, I am speaking in English because I went to a co-ed English school, and English is a great language to connect with people. But I think in Hindi, and I think in Urdu. So that's why I write in Hindi and Urdu, because that's how I'm thinking. In terms of yeah, I think that kind of sums up. For me, it's very when it comes to writing, for example, like it's interesting how Malika was mentioning that a lot of people and a lot of songwriters I've noticed that they do this where at the end of the day we only have limited emotions, right? Either it's love or heartbreak or loneliness or you're missing someone. I mean, and you try and convey these things in your own language, in your own style. And a lot of singer-songwriters end up using almost the same expression because they're listening to it so many times, and it also sort of makes a connect with the audience, because even people, they don't want to think a lot. They just want to get into, a nice vibe and probably miss their own, their respective lover or whatever. For me, it has been difficult in that way, because in film that you might have to do that. Like when you're doing a film for someone, you can hire a lyricist. But for me, when I'm trying to do, for example, Ahmad, when I was writing it, I made sure that even if I'm conveying that emotion, can I say something that has never been heard before,
Yeah.
but still emote what I was trying to say. Like there's a line in Tasalli which says, तेरे घर का रास्ता रटा है जैसे खून को रटे हैं इन रगों के रास्ते. I haven't heard any expression like that, but it essentially means that that I know you or your place or your whereabouts in and out. So for me it's like that.
Tell me honestly, both of you. I mean, I for one, just as a pop culture enthusiast, I'm kind of fed up of this narrative where pop culture has constantly tried feeding us that for you to be a good musician, you have to go through heartbreak. We have seen that in several
Yeah.
Hindi movies. We've seen
Yeah.
that, like universally, that fad has been just fed on to us as a generation. Where do you both weigh in on that?
Ah, that's really interesting. Okay, I think that also comes into picture when you're talking about whether you're a singer or a songwriter. I think that as a singer, at least when it's very very strange, but when I'm recording in a studio, I don't bring in my personal life. So when I'm singing something, no matter what the mood may be, that's not what I'm thinking about. Even if I'm going through heartbreak, I might be singing a happy song, and that's fine with me because I don't think.
Hmm.
So when I'm actually like in that booth, I'm only thinking about the song and I'm only trying to emote considering the lyrics and stuff like that. So as a singer, it's not necessary to actually go through like heartbreak to like sing heartbreak songs. That emotion actually comes with practice and with lots and lots of singing and lots of performing. I think it's just the amount you sing. When as a songwriter,
Hmm.
depends on how creative you are, but I would definitely say that going through those emotions on a personal front helps you write that so much better than you would just randomly imagine. That heartbreak is like, okay, you're upset or you're missing somebody, or you don't want to eat and you don't want to sleep. All of that is in the books, it's out there, everyone knows it. But when you're going through that, I think you can give like two other lyrics that probably, something like he mentioned, you're going to put out something that nobody has really heard before or felt before, because that is something that is so original and real. So I think again that comes into like two different, kinds.
Yeah, I feel you. It's a very interesting question, Vijayalakshmi, because if you actually go on Apple Music and read Ahmad ka description, so it starts with, I've fallen in love too many times. For me, I've been struggling. For me, it was not about the heartbreak, but actually falling in love too many times, and not about oh mera dil toot gaya, ab main ek gana likh dunga. I think it's the whole notion of getting your heart broken and then ending up writing a song which would be an amazing song is a hoax, and it's just, I think it's overrated, the whole thing. So exactly what you're saying, even I'm fed up of that. But what Malika said, I do agree with her, and I am on the same page when it comes to going through these emotions is very important. And but I'd rather say I'm a person of love. uh, I'd rather give more importance to the feelings of love when I was with a person, and not the feelings of the bitterness and what I. Of course, the bitterness and separation happens, and they give you all the juice that you'd like in your songwriting. But I think if you focus on love more, you'd be a better singer songwriter, or just a songwriter or whatever. I really feel that. And as a singer also, I really feel, because I'm a music director, Malika, so I'd like to add to that. Clearly, like, you need practice and you need everything in order to be big. I mean, you could be heartbroken, but what if you have to sing a happy song on that day? You just have to sing it. So now in that moment, you have to channel all your happiness, all the happy moments that you've been through, and make sure that that delivers. Completely separate yourself from what you are going through on the personal front. But on the other hand, I also feel a singer, apart from the skill set, is also a character. And if you want to be unique, Nusrat Sahab, Mohan Kanan, even Arijit, I think they've gone through a lot in life generally. So that builds your character, that builds your voice, and then you sort of bring those nuances of your life onto the songs that you're performing. So there is technique, but you need to go through a lot of things. That's not just technique, is what I wanted to add. Yeah.
No, I think so too. I mean, even I'm a person of love. I totally agree with that point. That if you're putting something out there, why put out something bitter? Try to put it in the best sense positive. Because also, I think, as someone in this industry, whether it's music or whether it's like TV or anything, people do look up to you after a point, and there are people who are like blindly listening to you or like looking at your music or your creative process. And I think that it's very important to like share the positivity and also like put out, I think, 2% of extra positivity there, so that you're just spreading that versus like having something negative or bitter.
Malika and Samir, actually, I remember during the promotions of Amar when we had spoken, I remember you saying that musicians today have become much braver in terms of songwriting. They are much more open to being honest with themselves and expressing their personal experiences through their art.
Hmm.
So, do you want to elaborate on that? Do you want to like build up on that?
Yeah, I feel like people have become less inhibited in terms of what they were expressing. Like what we were talking about before, कि पहले एक ही emotion you would just dwell into that, and you will just keep writing about missing a lover and the same thing. Now people are like talking about layers. There are layers and layers of emotions that people go through. People are writing about depression out there. They're talking about what they feel about their depression, what they feel about their even things like their upbringing in their family, or what they feel about being completely oppressed while they were growing up. There are so many things that I hear nowadays, singer songwriters talking about these things. I think they've become so brave and not just writing about something that's just going to work. um, I think that's really important. Like honesty, I've been noticing a lot of honesty, and most importantly, melancholy. People are brave enough to express melancholy. um, I think melancholy can be positive too. And like I'm not someone who's really a sucker for happy music. Like I genuinely don't enjoy a lot of happy music. I love Coldplay, for example. Like it's great stuff, but they have got melancholy songs too. I'd rather listen to them. um but you will see so much. Like there was an era, I don't know, Vijay Lakshmi, if you might have noticed that there was this like 5-year period of time a couple of years ago where it was only electronic happy music. Everybody just wanted to have a
Yeah.
party. Everybody was just going like, you know it chill gaane banate hain, that's it. That was like the
Yes.
agenda. Everybody was doing that. And now it's not like that. People are like,
Yeah.
talking about really complex emotions, and they really don't give a damn if it's going to work or not, because for their priority right now has become that, what, I feel this way, I'm going to express it. So yeah, sorry about that, but yeah. So that's what I feel like. I generally feel like people have become very, very brave. What do you think, Malika? Like, you might have come across a lot of artists who are like expressing complex shit nowadays. So that's crazy.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I think I entirely agree with you. I think very specifically in 2020, there's been so much music that has been out there, and as indie artists or any artists in general, I think that just like he said, there are all sorts of topics and all sorts of emotions that have been spoken about. It's not just heartbreak and not just love, and that's actually really true. I think it's easy to write about these things, but there's so much more to write about. And I think
Yeah.
it just takes you a while to get there and to write about it, but it's really great that people are getting there and writing about it and talking about things. Because I think what I realized a little later was that initially when I wrote a couple of things, it was for myself, and that's what I was feeling and I wanted it out there. What I didn't realize is that there are so many other people who feel the same way. Literally, I've had people message me and say, "Oh my God, like we connected the lyrics, or this is exactly how I feel," or thank you for putting this out there. And so I think that no matter what the topic is, whether it's depression, which so many people are facing and going through, I think it does help people, and music does heal, right, at the end of the day. So I think that's actually really great.
But Manika and Samir, do you think, given the current situation now, where art is, kind of being scrutinized right now, we are, I mean, we in the kind of environments and in the kind of society that we are now living in, it's like every piece of art that's being put out there, irrespective of whether it's music or shows or films or whatever that's being fed into pop culture, is now suddenly that there's a whole lot of unnecessary intervention. So, do you think this kind of a creative freedom in such times can be a boon and a bane?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just because there's so much talent, and because that talent is actually channelizing everything, and because I think there's always been talent, obviously, but I think say 10 years ago people could not put out that music as easily as today. Indie artists can just like go and put their music out, and I think because there's so much, and because there's so much to listen to, and so many artists to compare, and in general, I think there's like I say, there's a consumption of a person to listen to music, say per day, is like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. In that, you can only listen to a number of songs and number of artists. A person like me listens to one song on loop for like an hour. So there is where your competition comes into play. You can't be listening to so many artists at the same time. And I think that's when, because you have so much, you kind of want to scrutinize it. You want to criticize it, or just talk in any sense, but because of that's the major reason, because you have so much. That's when you start talking about it. And I think, yeah, it's both ways. It's a boon, but also a sort of curse.
I mean, it is definitely the quantity and the ease of access of being able to just produce a song in your bedroom and just release it, literally for free now. Not even like pay the distributors or the aggregators some kind of money. It's free now. You can literally put your song everywhere, on all the major streaming websites. And see, it's I think it's as simple as um, like how we have so much music, we have more critics now because it's easier, right? You can just talk. You've got so much to talk about. Yeah, it's easy to criticize, and also the quality will ultimately decrease, right? I mean, you can't have a lot of quantity and also expect a lot of quality, right? So that is also, I think that's why a lot of criticism is also there, and it should be there. I think people should criticize a lot, even more. I think people should criticize the indie scene a lot. I think people really shy away from criticizing the indie scene because they want to support it so much, which is great,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But I think for it to grow, we need to tell the young bands that they're not sounding as good, and also support them. But I genuinely feel like there's just overt. I think people are being overtly knuckly supportive. They're almost like faking it.
Yeah.
But I genuinely feel like, but we need. It's really really important for anyone to grow. They should be criticized a little bit more. And of course, it should be a nice balance, is what I'm trying to say. Not trying to sound harsh here to the scene, but I genuinely feel like that we do need the production game to go up a notch where we are. We keep complaining about how a lot of Indian bands are not on the international level because we are not trying hard enough, and it's really easy because of the access. Like, look at us. The internet has made the whole globe like just one plain ground, isn't it? Like, it's the playing ground is all level. So मुझे लगता है we start criticizing even more and a bit more vocal about it, being honest. I think criticizing is that word has a very negative connotation to
Yeah.
it. I'd say being honest with people. If we can tell them that we love you, you're such a nice independent band, but I'd really like it if your album was produced much better. Why don't you hire a producer? The culture has to come in. Music supervisors, it was never there. Finally koi kar raha hai. So I think we need honesty more than being constructive criticism bhi chalega. But certainly we need that. I would say we need that. I think it's a blessing if we are being criticized, because quantity itna zyada ho gaya. It's like कोई भी गाना निकाल सकता है, कभी भी कुछ भी निकल रहा है.
But actually, to add to that, I was actually recording for a video podcast like 2 days ago, and I had a very similar discussion where, like you mentioned exactly, कि घर में bedroom में बैठ के you can release a song, you can produce it, sing it, and have it out there. Maybe like a pretty scrutinizing process by the aggregators. I don't know how it would work in general, but something like that would actually work out. That there are certain guidelines or certain kind of pointers where they decide whether the song should be out or not. Because I feel like everyone is. I've heard a lot of amazing, beautiful, great songs. At the same time, I've also heard some music last year which I didn't expect to even get the exposure it did. And I think that that's where your constructive criticism comes into play, where also like there has to be things where people need to know that okay, there has to be a certain level that you have to reach to have the music out.
But it's such a subjective thing. That's the problem. It's so difficult because now there's lo-fi, for example. So if you sort of put say a filter which sort of defines that, this is the minimum quality of the audio that should be there for it to qualify. For example, just hypothetically speaking, what if it's like a lo-fi song, which is just, everything is running through a vinyl and the sound is supposed to be like that. So it's so difficult to, do that. But I really hope somebody comes up with something, somebody needs to do something, and it'll be nice. But then also, again, there's an argument, on the ethical grounds, where you'll be like, but how can you take someone's freedom of, expressing themselves? What if there's someone who just doesn't know how to record or produce, but he might have a great song, then that never comes out or reaches out. So it's just a very, very complicated
Social, yeah, it's I don't think
situation.
anything can be done about it. It's just like, for the sake of I mean, yeah, it's really hard to actually like decide what can be out there and what doesn't.
Like you said, like we have mentioned about it during the course of this conversation, that we have heard many songs over the years on heartbreak and and everything else. But how can one bring? I mean, how do you think can one person innovate and make sure that they stand out? Because then otherwise they will just look like just another love song, right?
Okay, I think I can answer that. So in 2019, I actually did this intensive course with NYU, which was based on songwriting, and I was one of the eldest out there. So I mean, everyone was in their 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and the kind of music that they actually wrote was incredible. The kind of feelings that they put out was really incredible, and one of the reasons why I think is because in India, in other countries versus India, I think collaborations are a little more than they are in India. Today, I think we collaborate with like a singer might collaborate with a producer, or with a composer or a director. I think back in US, what the difference is that a lot of songwriters come together and write a song. That's what one of our exercises out there were as well, and I think that is one thing that might help, because earlier on you might have an idea, but you might not have the right words to tell what you're trying to tell, and then someone might be more experienced. So I think if there are say 2 or 3 songwriters that might be in the same room while writing a song, that would probably bring in that and that's also a process of learning, right, for everyone. um, and I think apart from that, I think something that would really, really help is to have your music heard a lot by people you trust and believe in before you actually put it out there. So that if there's something that you think is very, like there was a time that I wrote a song and I had my mom listen to it. And there were a lot of words that she thought were very, very colloquial because, I was just initially writing. So we sat down and we changed those phrases and words, and we, had it a little more professional. So I think that that really helps. And there's absolutely nothing wrong in having certain people help you out through that process. So yeah, I think have your music heard before you put it out there.
I think I can very easily sum it up in a very simple, I can simply answer your question by saying that stop trying to be the next Pratik Kuhad or Osho Jain, or, the people that you admire. Just don't, just stop. Can you please stop that? And, try and find your voice. It'll take some time, but you will find it. There's no other way. Like we discussed before also. The feelings are the same. We are, at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We will talk about love, or missing someone, or separation at the end of the day. But if you have to listen to the music that you admire. You have to understand the technique probably and study it, and then try and incorporate in your own way, what you would like to say, instead of trying to copy the technique itself. So you have to understand. I think people are, and it's fine, making songs, and yeah, definitely the other thing would be having a filter, like what she said. People and musicians that you look up to, send them the songs, be open, and let them tell you that it's bad, and accept it, and let them tell you if it sounds good like someone else, and accept it, and try something else. People are really, really not, they are really afraid of discarding songs, which is really bizarre, because I usually discard like 10 to 15 songs, and then I come to a song and I'm like, okay, this is nice. So discarding process has to really, yeah, it's really important, really, really important to just keep discarding the tunes, if it sounds like something else, if you're not confident in the first place, and if you don't believe in it, you will find your voice. There's no other way. And see, I read something very nice yesterday actually, and it said that we character and personalities are two different things. We are born with a character, which is unique. Our personalities can be shaped over time. It can be something else. It can be something else. You can't expect a green apple to be red. It's going to be a green apple. I mean, you can think about it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be. So that's the character. It's very important, and we have a unique character, each and every one of us. If we can find that, it'll serve us and it'll be great. So, try and find that character because we all are really, really unique.
If you do have your originality, if that's what you're bringing in, you're gonna not run out of songs or topics or feelings at the end of the day. A songwriter does not write just one song. You keep writing. If you're trying to mimic somebody you admire, you can write 2 songs and you're gonna have to stop because that's that. So I think that originality is something that is going to help and that is gonna make you who you are.
I have to ask both of you, if y'all have to speak about some of the most wonderful singer-songwriters that we have in the business today in our Indian indie music scene, who would you pick out as your favorites?
That is really hard. Okay, but if I have to name one, the one artist that I really look up to is Darshan Rawal. I really do adore his music. So yeah, I think I'd pick him.
I think there's so many. Everybody is doing such a beautiful job. I really admire Rasika Shekhar. She's amazing. Her original work is really beautiful. I really love Osho's music. I think he's doing all these love songs, and suddenly he drops this really like a rare bomb, and it's amazing. I really, really admire Kamakshi Khanna's new work that's going to come out very soon.
Yeah.
I think Barbie Rajput's got a very unique voice in terms of what she's trying to say and what she'll say in the coming future. There's this guy Shaurya Singh. I think he's got some incredible tunes. He needs to put out that music out there. Shaurya Singh, incredible voice. I think these guys. I'm really digging these new artists that I keep coming across on Instagram. These are really young guys from Dehradun and I don't know where all, someone from Calcutta, and these guys are writing like incredible music. People hardly know them. I have this folder where I keep saving these voices, and I make sure that I collaborate with them at some point. So many of them. It's really inspiring what's happening right now.
It's very happening. Well, Malika and Sameer, all I can say is that I, for one, I just look forward to anything that you guys put out, not just now, but even in the future. So all the best wishes once again. Thank you so much for joining us at Radio City Freedom Exchange. Hope to see you both very soon in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.